the song with your heart. Play the song with your heart.
And one time. What is good, YouTube? This your boy, Aaron.
It's Brian.
And
Salute.
Yes, salute. You had to screw it up. This is the Courtside view.
That video was hilarious. I'm sorry.
Oh, which one?
He was doing a
Yeah.
timeout. He was
Yeah,
like, everyone's
I
playing the
remember
right way. Salute.
Salute. Nah, you know the funny one. The funny one was last year when he was like, when Russell Westbrook has the ball in his hands in crunch time. I'm comfortable with that. I'm like, what? That one, I should have known the signs was there. There was something skeptical about him. But anywho, this is the Courtside View podcast, and today we are back. Before we start the video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell because we giving you guys a lot of content, and we appreciate all the subscribers. I think it's 347 subscribers. Road to 500 subscribers. Continue to I don't know what's going on with me today, but regardless, let's get down to business.
He's so excited because there's so much sports is happening this weekend and the past week. We just excited to talk about it.
I know it's just we are in a great time for sports. Like literally football, basketball is at its peak right now, and we also have the Royal Rumbling is happening tonight. So I'm just excited, man. It's really good. But anywho, let's get down to business. Let's get to the games for Sunday, the NFL games, NFC Championship and AFC Championship games. I'm so excited.
Games of the year, I mean,
before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was gonna say the last three, the Super Bowl being the last one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So, yeah, man, this is where we're getting close to the finish line, and what a ride it's been. To no surprise, 49ers are they're in the championship game, and the Lions they're in the championship game. A little surprising, but before the playoffs started, I had my prediction that I thought the Lions were going to make it. You thought the Cowboys. But anywho,
silly me.
Yeah, silly you. But let's get to that game. Let's start off with this. Number one, I want to get your X factors for the game, offense and defense. Who do you have as your X factors
for the 49ers?
Yeah, okay. Well, for both teams.
Okay. So one obviously is going to be the QB Brock Purdy because last game he didn't have that great of a performance. And I truly believe the Lions' offense is better than the Packers. And if he's not on point, he can't afford to go quarters and quarters of mediocre football because the Lions will capitalize. Mm-hmm. And also, as Brock Purdy, Debo is playing. Mm-hmm. And so Debo, their offense gets way more dynamic when Debo's involved and actually on the field. So he's an X factor. Obviously, you got Christian McCaffrey, MVP candidate, I believe. So, yeah, as far as that offense, yeah, that's pretty much the top three. I'm gonna give it like how Madden, you only get 3 X factors. So I'm
gotta pick one.
Oh, one?
Yeah, you gotta pick one.
I'm gonna say Brock Purdy.
Okay.
Because the secondary for the Lions isn't that great.
Okay.
It's not that great. They can be had through the air. Mm-hmm. So if Brock Purdy's on point, then the 49ers, they'll win this game pretty easily, in my opinion. They'll probably sell out to stop the run. Mm-hmm. Their linebackers like to bite on play action a lot because they're not very good in cover, so they key in on the run. So one play action can really cook them the whole time. And as far as the Lions go, the X factor for the Lions, I'm going to say X factor for the Lions. You think it would be Jared Goff. I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs because he had a great game last week. And the 49ers, as we seen against the Packers, their run defense has been a little shaky. Mm-hmm. You know that one play Aaron Jones had like a 52-yard rush?
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs might take that to the crib.
He's definitely take that. He got that second gear.
Yeah, he fast. 4.3 speed. So I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs, especially since you can use him out the backfield, get him involved in the passing game. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be a big key factor for this game. I really do on offense. And on the defensive side for both of these teams, for the 49ers, I'm going to say Fred Warner.
Fred Warner.
Because Amon-Ra is a slot guy, so you know they want to get that matchup against the linebackers. Fred Warner's going to have a tough task trying to stop him getting open in the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say Nick Bosa. People say, "Oh, Nick Bosa," but like you can scheme around pass rush. You know, you can scheme around that elite edge guy. But when you got to throw that ball in the middle of the field, when you like to attack the middle of the field as much as the Lions do, you're gonna have to come up against Warner and Greenlaw. And Warner, he ain't no slouch. We all know that. First team All Pro. Mm-hmm. And as far as the defensive side of the Lions, I'm going to say CJ Gardner-Johnson. Because he's been talking big smack to Debo for the past few months, and now they finally get to play against each other. He's probably going to be tasked to keep Debo in check, even though I know he plays safety, but this may be a personal type. You know, Dan Campbell kind of crazy, so he may let the dog loose on him. So I think CJ is going to be a big part of this, especially not allowing deep balls, you know. Like Ayuk, you know how Ayuk likes to get behind DBs and all that. So yeah, that's my X factors for both those teams. You want me to just go right into the Ravens? And
No. When we go to the next game, we'll get to the X factors and everything like that. One of the things you mentioned, sort of the deep ball. Number one, 49ers are not really a team that goes down the field too much. Like they go between the numbers like 15 to 20, but they don't, like when it comes to like throwing it like 40 plus yards, like they don't normally do that a whole lot. But regardless, my X factors.
But the thing is, the Lions like to play a lot of cover one.
Okay, yeah. All right. Well, no, I got you. I'm just saying, like the 49ers, like they don't normally try to.
I wonder why.
Oh, here we go. Anywho, my X factors for the game, so I'm going to go with the 49ers and Lions first. So, offensively, for the 49ers, I'm going to say George Kittle, number one, because the Lions are not great at covering tight ends, and Brock Purdy and George Kittle have a really great connection. I think George Kittle is going to be pivotal for this game. I think he's going to dominate this game, so I'm going to go George Kittle this game. And for the Lions, I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs as well. I think this running game has to be tremendous for them to have a chance to win, just like with the Packers as well. I said this on last week's podcast. In order for the Packers to be in the game, to be competitive and possibly winning, you need that running game to alleviate any type of pressure on the quarterback. You don't want the quarterback to have everything on his shoulders. Right. So Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have to be pivotal for this game, and I believe he will. I believe they'll utilize him like they just did last week, where he was a key part of the reason why they won that game against the Buccaneers. And I believe Jahmyr Gibbs at this stage of his career versus Aaron Jones, I think Jahmyr Gibbs is a bit better than Aaron Jones right now, just because he's younger and more explosive. So Jahmyr Gibbs, on the defensive side of things, the X factors. For the 49ers, I'm going to go with Javon Hargrave. I think that going off of what happened last week with the Packers did a really good job, specifically that defensive line, of putting a lot of making it uncomfortable for Brock Purdy in the pocket. We had like 8 QB pressures. I believe we had over maybe 4 QB. Pretty much like when the QB is getting hit to the ground.
QB hits, yeah.
Yeah, QB is getting hit to the ground, whatever. We had about at least 4 of those. So we were making it very uncomfortable for him. We only had like 1 sack, but regardless, QB pressure is still is more important than necessarily a sack. You still the D line can still make it uncomfortable for a quarterback even without all the sacks. So I believe Javon Hargrave, he's going to have an amazing game. I believe he's the X factor on that defense because he's a D tackle, and you can make it very uncomfortable for the quarterback at the end of the day. He might not get any sacks. Also, the running game as well. As a D tackle, you have to stop the run, and he's going to have to be very important when it comes to that as well. So I'm going to go with Javon Hargrave. I could also go with Eric Armstead, but I just think Javon Hargrave, just his ability, he can impact the game a little bit more. For the Lions, I'm gonna go with Aiden Hutchinson. I know that's the popular answer. I could have gone with like Brian Branch or anything like that. Oh, yeah? But I think Aiden Hutchinson, for this reason, I saw with, again, the Packers, remember? So like here's the thing. Like, Aiden Hutchinson's one of the better pass rushers in the league, and I just look at the way that the Packers were able to attack that offensive line. I believe Aiden Hutchinson can do the same thing, and I think he needs to have a dominant game for the Lions defense in order for them to prevent Brock Purdy from being able to execute on the offensive end. Here's the thing, like, if the defensive line can get enough pressure and get Brock Purdy off of his, like, just his comfort.
Rhythm.
Yeah, off his rhythm, off of his comfort, I think it's going to bode well for them. I think that's what needs to happen because, obviously, like, you look at the 49ers, they rely a lot on yards after the catch, between the numbers. Brock Purdy, a lot of times he'll get the ball out pretty fast. But if the pass rush, if Aiden Hutchinson is able to win his matchup, I think it's going to be very difficult for the 49ers, specifically Brock Purdy, to execute his offense like they want to. So that's how I'm looking at it. Those are my X factors. And, yeah, let me see. What else was there? I know it was the oh, yeah. So how do you see like what the game is going to look like? Like the 49ers versus the Lions. How do you see it sort of turning out?
Well, I'm going to say off the rip that I have the 49ers winning.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I think they're just top to bottom a better team. And they have so many ways they can just beat you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Lions have enough dudes yet, especially on defense, to really stop that offense. But then again, the Packers play pretty well. But like you said, the Packers have pass rush. They got I forgot his name. You know,
It's
Rashawn
Gary, Lucas Van Ness, who's a rookie. Yeah.
So y'all got some. Y'all got Jair. That the
Kenny Clark as well.
Yeah, the Lions don't even have like a elite DB or something like that.
No.
So, well, outside of CJ, but. Well, Brian Branch
is pretty solid, but them corners are a little skeptical.
Exactly. So, I just think Lions. I think if the 49ers went out right, I don't know what the spread. I think the spread is 7
and a half.
7.5.
Yeah.
They could very well cover that. But as far as the game goes, I think the Lions will have. I think the game will be close for like the first half or so. Because the Lions will still they'll be hot. They'll probably go down and score. I think the halftime score will probably be close around like 13-10-ish, something like that.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, but then I think as the game goes on, it becomes a battle of attrition. I think the 49ers are more well-equipped. They're more physical. Even though the Lions play physical on offense, especially that offensive line. Mm-hmm. But I do think over time, Jared Goff may throw a pick or something.
Okay. Because
he's been turnover free.
Yeah.
These playoffs. So I think this game he throws a pick and it just avalanches. It's a snowball effect from here on that point on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I look at it like this. I think it's going to be a close game for the entire game. I think for the most part, I don't think the 49ers cover 7.5. I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to come down to a turnover. I think Jared Goff is going to probably turn over the ball because the pressure from the 49ers is going to make him uncomfortable. I think when it comes down to Jared Goff, like Jared Goff in a clean pocket is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He's one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the league. But when you get him off his spot, when you disrupt his rhythm, that's where it becomes just not ideal for Jared Goff. And that's the thing. Can the 49ers disrupt his rhythm? Can the 49ers get him off his spot? And I believe there will come a time where it will happen, and I think he will make a mistake, unfortunately, and that will determine the game. I believe the 49ers probably win this game by I'll give him I'll give him probably 7.
Just 7?
I think
not 7.5.
Nah, not 7.5. I think they win by 7 points. I think they win by a touchdown. They could win by 6. It could be 6. But I think it's either 6 or 7 points that they'll win by. I believe at the end of the day, I think the 49ers are just too dominant of a team. They just have the better dudes. And ultimately, that's what it's going to come down to. Who has the better dudes? It's not going to be necessarily who has the better quarterback, because I believe the Lions have the better quarterback. It's going to come down to, okay, from both sides of the ball, who's better? And I think the 49ers overall are better. You can argue who has better offense, but in terms of defensively, I think that the defense, I believe that I believe that it's going to be a bit easier for the 49ers to game plan against the Lions because Jared Goff is not that mobile. See, with Jordan Love, the problem is Jordan Love is able to utilize his legs. He's I wouldn't call him a dual threat per se, but what I'll say is he's a guy that he can utilize his legs in order to buy time for his receivers to get open, or he can scramble if need be. Jared Goff is not like that. He's not that type of QB, and I believe it'll be a bit easier to game plan against that instead of Jordan Love, who can throw like Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre at times. Like he be making some ridiculous ass throws, and guys like that are just unorthodox and they're they're unpredictable. But with Jared Goff, you can sort of predict some of the things that he'll do, and for that reason alone, I believe that the 49ers are going to win. And see, I'm not trying to like say, oh, Jared Goff isn't like he's not good or anything. Like Jared Goff is a great quarterback. He's a really great quarterback. He's a good quarterback. But the difference between Jared Goff and I know I'm bringing his name up, the greatest of all time, but Tom Brady is against the blitz. Tom Brady is one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen. Jared Goff against the blitz, he all right. He can be had. He can be had. So I think for that alone, I'm just not comfortable with picking the Lions. But I wouldn't be. Look, I know. Like I say this often, but I would not be surprised if the Lions find a way to win if Aiden Hutchinson and that pass rush can disrupt Brock Purdy's timing and rhythm. That's going to be the key to the game, in my opinion.
Yeah. Aaron Glenn gonna have to show something.
Look, cold world, still a cold world. And a couple of y'all is cool, but we a little more thorough. Whole time, a little more girls. You know I spit that sick shit and it's still no cure. Hold up, loud pack.